Yay! Today is our first day of triangles. On the first page of your packet, you'll see this little box to help us understand Theorem 4.1, which is called the triangle angle sum theorem. So I want to point out a couple of things before we fill in the blanks. When we think of a sum, we think of adding. And when we think of angles, we think inside the triangle. I'm going to make this triangle a little bit bigger over here to the right. Triangles have three sides, but they also have three angles. And this is angle A inside, angle B inside, and angle C inside. So when we talk about the triangle angle sum theorem, we talk about the sum of the measures of the angles is 180 degrees. So that means if you were to add up the measure, so put that little M means the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle C, that has to add up to exactly 180. And we're going to be doing problems like this where we have two angles and we have to figure out the third. So if you look at this particular problem, you can see that we have a 65-degree angle. We have a 57-degree angle. And we have a missing angle that's a question mark. And those three angles, by the triangle sum theorem, add up to 180. So what we're doing is we're calling this x. Even though it has a question mark in there, Desmos, if you see this little Desmos setup I've got over here to the right, Desmos requires a variable. We typically always use x. Now notice here in the Desmos I have a different order. X plus 65 plus 57 equals 180. And here I have 65 plus 57 plus x. It doesn't really matter how we add them up, as long as we add up all three. And then we learn from the Desmos calculator that x is 58. I also like to think about this. For those of you that like to spend money, I like to think about this in terms of money. If I have $180 to spend, and I'm going to this triangular mall, there's three stores at this mall. And at the first store, I spent $65. And at the second store, I spent $57. And I only can spend $180. So how much can I spend at the third store? And a lot of people very quickly figure out that when we're finding a third angle, sometimes it's just as quick to add them up. How much have I spent? Well, I've spent $122. 65 plus the 57 is 122. And I have 180 to spend, so how much do I have left over? 58. And that's how much I can spend in the third store. Now, when we get into day 2, this particular methodology will not be as helpful. We will need Desmos because we will be solving for a variable, and it won't be as straightforward. So this particular methodology will only work if 2 of the angles are numbers, and you're only missing the third. So here's another one. Remember that that little box means 90. So you can see the Desmos calculator. We'll call the missing angle x plus 40 plus 90 equals 180. And the missing angle is 50 degrees.